Alrighty, what's up, y'all? My name is Corey, and today I'm going to be doing a sort of walkthrough slash tutorial on my Survivor animation, the animation I just put out a few days ago on my channel. Not for high demand. One person wanted to know, and so kind of, encouraged to show it. I'm not going to be showing every little bit of the animation and how to make every part of it, but I'm going to be doing like the basis of it. A few of the particle systems that I made, I'm going to be recreating them, and I'm going to show how like I keyframed the animation and like the shader that I used, and etc etc. So first we'll start with the particle systems. So the first particle system that I'm going to recreate is the swirl effect. Right in the beginning you should see like, a bunch of little particles swirling around my avatar. It's really easy to actually to make. A lot of people don't really do it often, so first obviously make a particle system. We're going to go ahead and just call this swirl. And we're going to go ahead and pull out the shape module. Then we're going to change it to a sphere. Bring out the sphere to a larger area. I would say about right here. There we go. Now what we're going to do is change the radius thickness to about 0. That way they emit on the outside. Change the speed to 0. That way they don't move. And we're also going to change the lifetime to 8. It can be any number you want, but I just have it at 8. I'm also going to do a color over lifetime. And instead of the color, I'm going to be just having the ends fade out and fade out. That way they look like that. Now what we want to do is go ahead and enable trails and make your new material. You don't really have to do this, but I'm going to, just because I don't like using the default particle material. So I'm just going to call it default. I'm going to go ahead and change my shader to one that I already have. And just change the color to white. Now this can also be any color you want, but I'm changing it to white. I'm going to change the color inside the particle itself. Let me just get a glow. We'll use, let me see, what resolution is that? That's good enough. Alrighty, so we have a glow. There we are. Now what we're going to want to do is go down to the renderer, at the render mode, change this from billboard to none. That way we don't have those dots. Instead we have just the trails. On the trails module, again, go ahead and press this world space, keeping the simulation space at local. That way when we move it around, as you can see, we have it moving like that. We didn't apply this material yet, so let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Also on the trails, change the minimum vertex distance to 0. That way there's no cutting when it moves around. And we're also going to want to do the lifetime to like 0.5 or so. Whoops. There we are. Now we have the particle system all set up. You can really change any of these that you want. I like, whenever I have the random trail effect, to change my start size to a random between two constants, and just making it one small and one semi-big. So there we go, 0.1 and 0.7, and there we are. So now when we move it around, they look like that. Now what you're going to want to do is go ahead and create a animation. We're just going to call this swirl as well. Drag it on, highlight your particle system and go to the animation tab, record. Or actually don't record, my bad. Go ahead and add the rotation component to that. Go to the second keyframe, and now you can record. Now what we're going to want to do is just make a 360 loop with this. What we're basically doing is spinning it. As you can see, when we move it around, it spins, it spins, it spins. Because I like it to be a little bit more smoother and not fast and then slowing down between each point, I'm going to go to both tangents and press linear. Now as we spin it, my bad for the music, but as you can see, it does spin pretty nicely. We're going to go ahead and just drag this out just like that. And once again, I do apologize for the music, but this is what it looks like. So this is usually how I get my spin effect. You can change the color to something random. You know, I'll just change it to like a blue and a red gradient. And pretty simple stuff. That's the first particle system. And yeah, that's the one that I start with. Next, I guess I can show you the big circles that pop up around me and like kind of get bigger. It's just like the big ring that spins and spins and spins. So let's go ahead and do that. So what you're going to want to do first is obviously create a new particle system. We're just going to call this spin ring. All right. So first I'm going to disable the shape. Let me go ahead and see what this is. All right, cool. So disable the shape. Change the start speed to 0. Now we can really just change this to 1. Shouldn't emit as much. Now we're going to make another material just so we can keep it pretty organized here. I'm going to call it spin ring. Just drag it onto there. Let's just go ahead and change the... So I use a asset that I bought, and it has a lot of really good textures. Usually they're can't remember what they're called, but it's like these ones, like these types. They're very good. I mean, they're 1024 by 1024. It's pretty good. Anyways, here's our circles. So you can just I pick whatever one I think would look cool. I guess this one looks kind of cool. There we are. Now go down to the renderer tab, and the render alignment, instead of view, we're just going to have it local. That way it's flat. And we need it to spin. So we're just going to go right here. Rotation over lifetime. I'm just going to set this to about 360. As you can see, it's spinning pretty nicely. I'm just going to turn it down just a little bit so you can see it easily. There we are. And then how I make it grow is I just do a size over lifetime. And yeah, that's about it, really. You can change the size of it to like 20. Oh, yeah, if you change it to a big number, make sure the max particle size is also that number as well. That way you can see it as big as it is. You can change this to like 1, make it grow like that, but that's basically how I made the spinning ring below me. And I just kind of keyframed when it comes out. Alrighty, so the next particle system I'm going to show you is the flames that kind of pop up around me. That one's actually very simple. As long as you have the texture for it, it's a default particle system. Or not really default, but it's an easy particle system. So I'm just going to call this flames. Go ahead and bring out the shape module. Keep it at cone. I'm just going to go ahead and bring this top part closer. That way it's just a cylinder, and make it bigger. Now same thing with the spin. Just make the radius thickness 0. That way it emits on the outside. I'm going to change this lifetime to about 0.6. I'm going to change the emission to around 150. I'm going to change the start size to about 3. And then I'm going to make a new material. I'm going to call this flames. Drag it on. Go ahead and do your little settings to put it on the particle. And I'm going to use this texture that I have called fog. This is one of my favorite flame textures, just because it looks pretty cool. So yeah. Alright, so once you have fog, or whatever, this is a texture sheet animation, so you gotta go ahead and set that up. Since my texture is an 8x8, I'm just gonna go ahead and change this to 8 and 8. And there you go. As you can see, it works. It just looks like a flame. I made it blue, so I'm just gonna go ahead and change this to blue. Boom, there we are. Just to make it a little bit more random, I do a start rotation with random between 2 constants. Make the other number 360. That way it starts out between these 2 rotations. And then I am also going to do a color over lifetime. And same thing like that. That way they disappear a little bit easier. Now you don't have to make them go this fast. You can just change the simulation speed to like 0.2 or if you want, or whatever, however fast you want it to be. I'm just going to change it to like 0.5. Yeah, that works. Now 90 particles isn't that much, so you can really up this as much as you want. You know, I'll up it to like 300. That works. 200 particles is pretty okay. And there you go. I mean, that's a flame for you. You know, if you wanted to go higher, you just change the lifetime to like 2. But that's all in the animation. You just animate the lifetime, or you animate whatever you have to animate to make it cooler. But that's a flame. That's how I did my flame. Alright, so the next particle system that I'm going to show is the lines that kind of shoot out. It's very similar to the swirl. I just use, you know, trails again. So make a particle system. I'm just going to call this shoot lines. We're just going to go ahead and do a nice little burst on the emission tab. I'm just going to set it to about 10. We don't need that many. There we are. This one is a little bit harder, I guess, just to get perfect, but set it up the same way. I'm just going to use the same material. Go ahead and go down to the renderer, billboard, set it to none, enable the trails, put the trails to world space, set this to 0. Lifetime, I'm going to put about, oops, not 0, but about like 0.3. There we are. I'm also going to change the start speed down to like 0.3 as well. There we are. And then I also use a noise. So the noise is kind of a bugger. I hate using noise, but I just hate setting it up because I'm not completely sure how to set it up still. I am, but I have to do a lot of experimenting to get it right. So I usually set the strength down just a little bit. The frequency, I don't change much. The position amount, I'm just going to put this to 2. Not 20. 2. There we are. I guess I could change the frequency down. We'll just change this down to like 0.2. No, we'll change it to 0.5. I guess we can change this down to 0.3. Yeah? Okay. I'm also going to just widen that a little bit more. There we go. I'm also going to change this mode in the arc, haven't done this yet, to a burst spread. That way it's kind of equal when it pushes out. And yeah, I mean, you can, like I said, noise, you just have to experiment with this a little bit more. Just change some of the settings. You can't really break anything, so why not just change it, you know? But yeah, there you go. And then color over lifetime, just change this to fading. Make sure that the start lifetime is as long as you want it to be. I think in the animation I have it just to 2. So yeah, that's about it. That's your lines that shoot out. One that's extremely easy that I have in the animation are the dots that just appear around me. Very, very simple to do. Just go ahead and change a particle system to a sphere. Make the sphere big. Make sure the start speed is 0. Make sure that this is off. Change the burst to whatever number you want, like 40. And just do a color over lifetime to fade. Obviously, you can set these numbers to whatever you want, however long you want the burst to appear for. But yeah, that's about it. I just kind of did it like that, you know. Very easy to do. But that's those. I also had a random size. I think it was between like 0.2 and maybe 0.9. But that's up to you. That's just how I did it. So one that's a little bit kind of harder to do are the lines that kind of swirl around me. Oh, excuse me, PC. The lines that swirl around me are, I don't know. That was a mistake, but it just looked cool. But I'll try to recreate it as fast as I can. So just particle system, go ahead and change the shape from cone to circle. Change the rotation of it to about 90. And we're just going to go ahead and, move that to the center of our avatar. About right there. Same thing with the swirl, change that to 0. Change this number to a much lower one, 0.2. I'm just going to put it to like 0.6. Nah, 0.5, 0.4. Well, 0.4. That looks nice. Go ahead and change the radius thickness to 0. As well as the lifetime to about 8. The color over lifetime, give it a fade. Give it a trail. Make sure the trail is world. Set this to 0. Lifetime 0.5, I guess. Doesn't matter. And renderer, change it from billboard to none. Now we need another swirl animation. So I'm just going to go ahead and call this swirl 2. Drag it on. And just like before, add property, rotation. Once again, I do apologize for the music. I know I've done that a few times now, but it is annoying. Could get rid of it, but I'm not going to. Let's see. So I'm going to go to the second keyframe, and I'm just going to go ahead and change this to around 360. Think, yeah. So we're going to change that to 360. Oh, didn't even drag it. Make sure you have a material on there. There we go. So we got it to 360. It is just a little bit long. I'm going to change it to 1. There we go. That's a little better. They are big though. I don't like them being that big. That works. Forgot. Make sure you highlight them both. Change the both tangents to linear. Okay, that's too short. Let's change it to 3. That's better. Now we also have to do another rotation. That way it rotates around us as well. So I'm just going to change this to I think it's the Z. I can't tell if it's the Z or not. It might not be the Z. I think it might be this. Yeah. Except I don't think it should be -90. I think it should be -90 plus 360. That's basically how I did that. Like I said, it was a mistake. It wasn't really something I meant to do. I don't know what I was trying to do with this. I was just trying to see if I could figure out something new, and I did. I just dragged it out a little bit longer. And I also think I added about 2 particle systems to make it a little bit better. But that's neither here nor there. Change it however you want. However your animation looks, however you want it to look, however the music is. Just change it to your liking. This is just the basis of what I did. So that is going to be it for the particle systems. They're very simple. They didn't take me very long to make, except just trying to figure out what looked good and what I kind of wanted to be on the avatar and the animation itself. So that's those. Now, I guess the effects, the screen effects that I did, if you don't know how to make a screen effect, you just put it on a sphere. It's just a shader. The shader I use is from Doppelganger. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, but Doppel's Mega Shader. It's fucking amazing. It's so good. Highly recommend it. I probably will add it in the description. You can go over to his Patreon and buy it. I think you have to be tier 2. I think you get the previous versions in tier 1, but I'm tier 2. It's fucking great. So never had problems. Super optimized. Best screen shader I've ever used. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We're just gonna call this Doppel. There we are. Drag that onto our sphere. Make our sphere a lot bigger. Guess that works. And then we're going to go ahead and change the shader to his, which is right there. Screen effects, Doppel shade or dope shader. And as you can see, you have all these really cool effects that you can use. I'm just going to go ahead and change the main setting to about 5 and fade end at 10. And then, yeah, I just experimented with all of these. You have shake. You know, you can make your screen shake. As you can see, you can change the frequency down a little bit more, like to 0.5 and 0.5. That way it doesn't shake as much, but it still kind of shakes. That's a little too slow. We're just going to change it to 1. But yeah, you can do that. I think I used shake. I used blur. I used a little bit of edge glow. I used a bit of, no, I didn't use noise. I used vignette. I used bars, the color grading to make the screen kind of brighten a bit. You know, as you can see, it brightens up. So each beat when the screen gets brighter, I just used color grading. The saturation, I used that to make it black and white. You know, just experiment with this. I'm not going to show everything, but I used this shader and I just put it on a bunch of keyframes. I'm not going to show the keyframes because the keyframes, they're very boring. I mean, I'll show them. They're right here. Wait, no. They're right here. These are for the particles, but I just animated, you know, parts of the particles, like this fire right here. This is for it to get bigger and smaller, the fire around us at least. The rings, these are to make the rings appear. You know, I have all these keyframes that I just kind of experimented with and made them work with the music. And then the sphere animation, this is all just on that one shader, and I just recorded and messed around with all the effects and saw what looked good and didn't lag your game out horribly. Anyways, that's pretty much it. It's very simple. This is how I usually do all my animations. Just the part that takes the longest to do them is just figuring out what looks good, what I can do, and you know, what won't break your eyes or break the game, or what will break your eyes or break the game, you know, just depending on what you're going for. Highly don't recommend breaking your eyes or breaking your game. Not good for you, not good for the game. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was kind of informative, and I hope it gave like a little insight to the workings behind some of my animations, and I hope this kind of clears the air on, you know, you have to just trial and error a lot of stuff in Unity to get things working. Just, you know, master the particle systems. You don't have to master them, just know them. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good day or night wherever you are, and yeah, I will catch you in the next video. So just a little PS note, you may have noticed a little waveform at the bottom of my animation. It was in red, and it's what played the music anytime I started up the animation. Basically, this helps me keyframe without going back and forth from like Audacity and looking at the timestamp and trying to match it up with the keys. It makes it a lot easier. I bought this one from GVAS, the asset store that Surf has. It's very, very good. I've used it for a while and never had problems with it. But I highly, highly recommend getting something like this. Getting it either from Surf, from his store, or finding it somewhere else. I believe Neko has one as well. But just makes life a lot easier. Makes keyframing so much faster, and makes you not pull out your hair as much. So, yep, that's it. All right, have a good night.